What's going on, everybody? One Piece chapter 1042, titled Winners Don't Need Excuses, released today, and we're going to review it and talk about it, you know? So it opens with the next installment of the Germa cover story, in which we see Oven carrying the book with Niji and Yonji on his shoulder into a mirror. Brule is holding it so he can cross through to the mirror dimension, and it's the title is saying taking to Whole Cake Island, so we know where they're going. And we see Pudding throwing a bit of a strop because of it, and Oven is glaring over in her direction. She won't even face him, and so that's our cover story. And then we pick up where we left off CP0 in the last chapter. Well, we pick up just after. So X-Drake was just getting back up. I thought that X-Drake would actually fight CP0, but no, X-Drake stabs him through the back. So we see CP0 impaled on his sword, and he's like, "Why, Drake?" And Drake's like, "This is me getting justice for myself." And then CP0's like, "Oh, I envy you." And then he uses a shave, the one that makes them move really quickly. He uses that to get off of the sword, and then he uses a finger pistol to stab Drake into the neck. And so Drake is down. Like, I don't think he's getting back up from this one, to be honest. So really disappointing showing from Drake in Wano. I had high hopes for him, but I don't know. I think that's him done for the arc, to be honest. He's been put down how many times now? Like 3 or 4? So, yeah, I think he's done. And then we cut to the flower capital after that, and we see everyone is making their lanterns and filling them with their wishes. We see Toko is letting hers go, and it's like, "Oh, light the sky lanterns and let your dreams fly," is what's being said. So they're letting all of the lanterns go. So the festival is coming to an end now. I would guess anyway. So I don't know if they've noticed Onigashima. It was getting pretty close there for a while. So I don't know if they have noticed it. If they haven't, then maybe they'll notice it when the lanterns start reaching up to the sky. It is being pulled away by Momo at this point, though, so they may just never notice it at all. And then from there, after that, we cut back to Luffy and Kaido, where we left off in the last chapter. Luffy is using Gear 5th Snake Man to just rapid hit him. Just hit him with the 1-2, you know? So we cut to it, and Kaido's just being hit in the face with Conqueror's Collar of Conqueror's attacks, and he's kind of got no counter. He's not even able to attack by the looks of it. Then he counters with the Thunder Bagua, and but he's still, every time he blocks one, it's just like bouncing off and hitting him from a different angle. And he's like, in his mind, he's kind of like, he's just changing like how he's attacking, like on just a single dime. And he's like, rubber should not be able to do that. And then he's kind of like, "I told you it hurts, stop it." Because yeah. And then we get a new version of drunk Kaido. It's a flirty drunk, I'd say. Yeah, he's kind of like, you know, hitting with that, like biting his lip with his finger on the bottom lip, and kind of blowing a wink. And he's like, "Stop it, you." And Luffy's just in response like, "You're still drunk?" He's like, "What?" And he's like, and then Kaido's kind of like, I hope you don't think you're the only one who can see the future." So he's obviously tapping into his advanced observation, which obviously all of the Emperor's, well, Blackbeard probably, I don't think Blackbeard has Conqueror's Haki. I think his 2 devil fruits are kind of to make up for that. But other than Blackbeard, I think all of the Yonko obviously have advanced versions of every Haki. And I assume Blackbeard has a armament and observation Haki as well. But anyway, he's like, you're not the only one who can see the future. And then all of a sudden, and Kaido's like, "I'll take a page out of your book." And all of a sudden, he's in his dragon form. He's showing off a new drunk phase again. We get 3 in this chapter overall. This is the second one, called Thieving Drunk. And well, it's kind of like thieving it's kind of like stealing Luffy's style, I suppose, is what it means by thieving, as far as I'm aware. Because he's in his dragon form and he just kind of starts countering Luffy by just like using his legs and stuff while in his dragon form to like knock Luffy with like just random attacks. And but then he gets closer and he bites Luffy. He just grabs him in his mouth and he's holding him there. And Luffy's just kind of like, oh, ow, ow. Obviously he's hurt, like. And we get Kaido flying up into the sky, just way over Onigashima, and Luffy's obviously not able to get out. He's kind of like, let me out, let me out. And Kaido goes open, and he lets Luffy out of his mouth, way up in the sky, and he blasts him with a Boro breath back down onto the island. And the Boro breath actually knocks through the entire island. We see Yamato and Momo on either side of it, so it's gone all the way down into the basement. I think we get another panel next. Yeah, so we actually see it. It goes through the entire island, so there's a second massive hole in the island now. And Luffy doesn't, like, Luffy gets knocked through it, but then he changes to Bound Man, Gear Fourth, and he uses that to kind of jump his way around the island back up, and back up onto the roof. And so he's in Bound Man now, and he's ready to go. And he's kind of like, oh, you bastard. And Kaido's like, oh, you're back for more, are you? And Luffy's kind of like trying to figure out. He's like, because in the last chapter, if you remember, he did say this is his last Gear Fourth attack, and he doesn't have any more. So he's kind of like, he's trying to figure out like how long has he got left in his Gear Fourth, and he doesn't want to waste any time. And he's like, I can't lose here. And Kaido's like, oh, is that so? You're in worse shape than I thought you were. And Luffy's like, everyone in Wano will continue to starve and go thirsty if you stick around, so he has to win for that. And so he hits him with a new attack. He's Gomu Gomu no Supreme Gonga. I think it's like over Kongan. And but before he actually hits him with that, Kaido kind of gives a dialogue in which we see where the name of this chapter comes from. He's like, oh, the people of Wano are like, they're pathetic. They're used to defeat. They're either weak pacifists or content to die for the sake of honor. And he's like, they're losers. And then Luffy's like, they're strong. Obviously, that's how Luffy is. Like, he's gonna stand up for people he likes. And then Kaido kind of counters with, oh, like, a brave face is what it takes to make them strong. And he's like, winners don't need like excuses or rationalizations. And so he's like, which are you, a winner or a loser? And then Luffy hits him with the over Kongan, and it does massive damage. Like, Kaido, he hits him on the underside of his mouth. Kaido is still in his dragon form through this. He hits him on the underside of his mouth, and we see he was charging up a Boro breath, and it explodes inside of his mouth. And so Kaido's kind of like back, like upside down, and there's like steam coming out of his mouth, and he crashes backwards into the ground and everything. And then Luffy's chasing after him as he's falling. He's like, I can't let up until Gear Fourth is done. I need to finish this, like. And then Kaido lets out his new attack for the chapter. It's a Roaring Thunder Bagua. It's an upgrade of the regular Thunder Bagua. And Luffy's kind of like, oh fuck. But they're going up to clash. And then Kaido just whacks him. He's back in hybrid form now. And Kaido whacks him. Luffy's kind of on the ground. His eyes are widened out. And there's steam coming out of his mouth. And he's like blocking his mouth with his hands so the steam won't go out, so he won't lose Gear Fourth. He's like, I can't let the energy escape, I suppose, because he's like worried about losing power. And this is our final drunk phase of Kaido. It's a homicidal drunk. He looks like he's ready to kill Luffy, and he's like going for it. And so Luffy's kind of like, one more time, if this isn't enough, I'll lose. And so they're going up for the clash, and Luffy's like, Gomu Gomu no. And Kaido is kind of like, with his Konobo, he's pulling up on him, and he's like, bring it on, and he's going Roaring Thunder. And then Luffy is like supreme, but as he says it, CP0 boss, the fucking dickhead, appears behind him and grabs him on the shoulder that he's like using that he's going to attack with. So Luffy's like being held back like that, and he's kind of like, what the hell? And CP0 uses Iron Body to not get hurt, and Kaido direct impacts Luffy in a massive double spread. It's a seriously impressive double spread. Kaido sees it happening, but it's like too late for him to react. He's kind of like CP0, and he gets a flashback of Odin, and like Odin being distracted by the old hag impersonating Momo, and he gets the exact same flashback as he's hitting Luffy, and he just slams down, and it's like Luffy is literally just like underneath the Kanabo, and there's just like Conqueror's lightning streaming off of it and everything, and Kaido looks heartbroken from the attack. He's like, this cannot happen again. He's like depressed that he's finally getting another fight with someone who he's like, oh, this is a good fight, and he gets it ended in the exact same way that his fight with Odin ended with 20 years ago. And Luffy, we see he's like gone. We see him, he's like falling back to the ground, and there's like blood coming out of his mouth, and his hair is up, and he's like completely messed up. And then we see CP0 kind of grinning to himself. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter. No break next week. So my thoughts on the chapter. First off, I think CP0 is gonna die. I'm trying to remember. I think, didn't Kaido kill the old hag for interrupting his fight with Odin? I'd say that CP0 is gonna have an even worse time because Kaido is, first off, he's in homicidal drunk phase. Second off, he's genuinely upset that he got in the way of this fight. And third off, it's CP0. Fuck CP0. All the homies hate CP0. Obviously the fight's not over. Luffy isn't gonna die. It's a shonen. Like, yeah, if this was like Berserk, I'd be like, maybe. But no, obviously Luffy is not dead. But I think it'll be a couple of chapters. I personally believe that this is going to be our time for the actual Kaido flashback, because we've been getting like small amounts, and I think it's kind of building up to this where we'll have our actual flashback now and see like how Kaido came to be on the Rocks Pirates, who he is, what he is, because he's not a human, obviously. Like, is he an ancient giant race? Is he an Oni? Like, what is he? And stuff like that. And just general about the Rocks crew, I think we might get some of that. And then I'd say we'll cut back, and I don't even know like how this is gonna go from here, because Luffy is down. Like, yeah, that hit was violent. Like, it's dead on. I really just don't know where it's gonna go from here. But after I'm guessing a flashback anyway, we might go on to Act 4 or something, and there might be like some time for a recovery phase or something like that, and the raid may genuinely just fail, like Mr. Morj was saying all that time, and everyone kind of like, with how long Act 3's been, everyone was kind of like, no, not really. But like, I thought if we were going to get Act 3 and then Act 4, it would be Act 3 would end with the raid succeeding, and then Act 4 would be like the world government showing up. But obviously the world government are already here, and CP0 is probably going to be dead. But yeah, so I really don't know what's going to happen. Comment down below what you think is going to happen anyway. I think the next chapter will be, or the next couple of chapters, I don't think it'll be as big as the Odin flashback, because that was, like 18 chapters or 20 chapters or something like that. I don't think it'll be that long. I think it might be like 5 or 6 chapters. But other than that, I'll be interested to see. And comment down below. Leave a like, please, first, and subscribe, and comment down below what you think is going to happen next. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.